Oh, baby, we're finally back here on the Dub Talk podcast. It's been a while, Monty. We haven't spoken to each other. Well, we've spoken to each other off record, but we haven't talked on this platform since, what was it, Christmas Eve? A couple days before Christmas when the Warriors beat the Orlando Magic, and there was a lot of dramatics in that game. Obviously, Steve Kerr, Draymond Green getting into it. Draymond Green walks off, doesn't play the rest of the game after walking off the floor early in the third quarter. It did not linger. Warriors beat the Mavericks on Christmas Day. Should have beat the Raptors on Sunday. We'll get to that. And, of course, they just beat up on the Brooklyn Nets, winning that game going their way, although there were some hairy moments down the stretch for the Golden State Warriors. That is, of course, Monty Poole, our Warriors insider, Hall of Famer, two-time NBA award-winning insider here at NBC Sports Bay Area. I am Bonte Hill. And, as always, we're brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Get the rest easy promise only at Mancini Sleep World. Shop sleepworld.com. It is sleepworld.com. Look, man, 365 night comfort guarantee. Try your mattress for a full year. If it's not the right fit, they'll fight to make it right. Who doesn't like that? Free next day delivery plus old mattress removal. You don't have to worry about that. Buy today, sleep better tomorrow. No wait, no extra cost. It is the best price guaranteed. Only at Mancini Sleep World. Go ahead and shop sleepworld.com, sleepworld.com. All right, let's get into it here. Obviously, the Warriors beat the Mavericks on Christmas Day. Anthony Davis gets hurt in that game. Kind of a choppy game on Christmas Day, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. The Warriors win. They head into Toronto to begin the 3-game road trip on a 3-game winning streak. You know what? They were a minute 43 away from having a season-high 4-game winning streak. And it's something we've discussed all season long, whether it's pre- and post-game, whether it's the Dub Talk podcast, whether it's just walking around at Chase Center. Turnovers. The turnovers have done the Warriors in, and they turn the game over against the Toronto Raptors. They get outscored 19-5 in overtime, Monty, and that was a nasty, nasty loss. That took a while to get over, even though it was a short turnaround. In my head, during the Brooklyn game, I kept thinking, boy, they let one get away in Toronto.
Dude, how many games have they let get away?
7 many games?
Yeah, so you look at what you've got there. Of their 16 losses, what is it, 11 have featured blown fourth quarter leads?
Yep.
I mean, so for them to go into Toronto and pretty much, do what they needed to do for 46 minutes. And even but it really started at the end of the third quarter.
It did.
God, man, the end of that third quarter was as nasty and ugly as they have played at any point this season. It looked like that old Utah Jazz game of last season where they were like, okay, how many points do you guys want to score in 2 minutes? And it was less than 2 minutes. And so you saw that, and that's the kind of thing that, one, it demoralizes your defense, and two, it energizes your opponent. And so now all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, which you had a 12-point lead, now you got a little bit of a dogfight. Momentum shifts. And yet, they held on, up 7 with less than 2 minutes to go. And let's start giving away gifts again. Christmas is over, man. Christmas is over.
It is a holiday season. Do they celebrate later in Canada?
How much gift giving do you want to do? And so you watch this and you tell yourself, okay, at this point, it's like so repetitive.
Yeah.
It's the same things that happen with such great frequency that you tell yourself, this is not a playoff caliber team.
No.
You can look on paper and say they should be in the playoffs. You can look on paper and say, this team should win 45, 48 games. If they get to the playoffs and they're healthy and if the vets are semi-fresh, they can scare somebody, maybe win a playoff round or two. But then you watch this game, you go, they don't take care of the ball with enough consistency to win a playoff series against a quality defense. And the problem that I'm looking at, and it's happened in so many games. You look at the games against the Portland Trailblazers, for example, and you saw it against Toronto. What are you seeing? You're seeing a team that's got length and athleticism, speed, quickness, size. And you tell yourself, that's most of the teams in the NBA. And but it's not the Warriors.
You say it every game, Monty.
So this is going to happen a lot.
Yeah, we say they're at a disadvantage athletically every single game. Now you bring up the Toronto game, and you're right. At the end of the third quarter, I remember David Teller, one of our producers here at NBC Sports Bay Area, about 4 minutes and 22 seconds left. We both looked at each other and said, boy, look, this is going to be a critical stretch. How do they end this quarter? Well, Toronto ends it on an 8-0 run and then go into the fourth quarter only down 4 when they spent most of the third quarter down 12. At one point, it was about the 5:05 mark of the third quarter. The Raptors outscored the Warriors 63-36 the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
46-7 with about 1:43 left in the fourth quarter all the way through overtime. And the Warriors scored 5 points in overtime. So when we talk about turnovers, yes, we do sound repetitive, redundant, whatever word you want to use. But that is the 6 turnovers in the first half. They're taking care of the basketball. They're in the game. They're battling in the paint. And then they turn the ball over 15 times in the second half alone. And you're up minus 16 when it comes to points off turnovers against that team, Toronto. That's coming off an embarrassing loss to Washington. Toronto had just got embarrassed by the Wizards and gave up 138 points in that game, Monty. So they came out desperate, and they helped make Scotty Barnes look like Bill Russell with his 25 rebounds in that basketball game. So turnovers led to fast break points. It led to paint points, and they get outscored in the paint 70-40 in that basketball game. And those are the games, Monty. You mentioned it. Whether it's Indiana, Milwaukee, Portland, that Toronto game, there's been about 8 games they've blown. I think they've blown 7 games in which they had a double-digit lead. When you look at the end of the season, and if they're in that box battling for play-in position, not playoff position, they're going to look back at these games and say, you blew that one, you blew that one, you blew that one, you blew that one, and you have nobody to blame but yourself because the live ball turnovers are destroying this basketball team. All of a sudden, they couldn't break a press, Monty, against the Toronto Raptors? Good Lord.
No, they look like a team that they have never seen a press.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. Don't they teach that in high school? That's a fundamental part of basketball. When you see presses and trapping coming at you, there's always a way out because you're taught that. And so, you can Steve Kerr fell on the sword. Oh, I didn't put him in position. Okay, yeah, you can say that you're the coach, so you can say that. You can say that. But you got to think that this level of basketball, given what these guys have played over the years, because you had vets on the floor too.
Yes.
And you got to think, wait a minute, you guys can't break a press? And they couldn't. They were having a hard time turning the ball over in the backcourt. I mean, poor Gary Payton II fell. He just fell and lost the ball. Easy bucket for the other team, So you're seeing stuff out there in that game and going, these guys look like they don't know how to play basketball at crunch time. And you know what? Look at this season and you say, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. When it goes to crunch time, the chance of them losing go up.
Yep.
Not down, up.
Entering the Brooklyn game, Monty. Entering the Brooklyn game, they were 6-12 in clutch time games.
Yeah.
6-12.
Yeah.
That's not playoff winning basketball. That doesn't scream 50-win basketball team. And you mentioned it, the veterans. In that game, Jimmy Butler, Stephen Curry, Draymond Green accounted for 11 of the 21 turnovers.
Yeah.
Those are the big dogs right there, Monty.
Yeah. Yeah. And in that down the stretch there, they had 7 turnovers in the late third and late fourth.
Yep. 7 total in the fourth, Monty. 7 in the fourth alone.
Yeah, but I mean in the final minutes.
Yeah.
In the final 2 minutes of the third, not even 2 minutes, the final minute and a half of the third, and the final 1:43, I think it was, of the fourth.
Yeah.
They committed 7 turnovers in like a 3-minute period.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Jimmy Butler committed 2. One of them wasn't totally on him, but it was recorded as his. But then you had 6 other guys. Steph committed 1, BP, GP2, I think Buddy. But they had 6 different guys commit turnovers in that stretch there. Jimmy was the only one who had two. And so it's like everybody's contributing to this. And then you see tonight's game when they start off. They start doing early in the going tonight's game against the Nets in Brooklyn. Turnovers early. They committed 4 turnovers in the first quarter, and I think 3 of those came in the first 3 or 4 minutes. I'm like, what are you doing here? What are you doing? And what happens? The Nets go out to a 13-point lead, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And it's like barely midway of the first quarter. Like, what are you doing? And then the Warriors, Steve Kerr called a timeout, and Then the Warriors didn't commit another turnover for about 8 or 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And in that stretch, they outscored the Nets by like 23 points.
Yep.
Clean basketball. They were routing those guys, routing them. And then it tightened up again. And in this instance, though, I think, and going, we're going to talk about the Brooklyn game now. I thought they did something in the fourth quarter of this game that they've had so much trouble doing, and that's stopping the other team. The Warriors, these late game losses aren't, some of them you can blame on the offense. Offense breaks down. But most of them, it's the defense giving up clean looks.
Yeah.
Being broken down, getting into the paint, kicking out, getting buckets. And I thought tonight was the second time. I mean, remember against the Sixers, the big play DeAnthony Melton made, on
Maxey. Yeah, no doubt.
It turned against the Warriors because they got an offensive rebound and put it back in, and they ended up winning. Yeah. Tonight, though, man, Igor was killing the Warriors. He had 7-3. When he lighted for his 8-3, Melton was right on him, blocks the shot. Ball goes to Jimmy. Jimmy throws it to Melt. And instead of a 3-point game, which would have been the case if he had made that 3, it's now an 8-point Warriors lead. 5-point swing because Melt made a defensive play.
No doubt.
And then Igor was so rattled at the next time down, he threw the ball to Will Richard.
You know what, though?
They got a 10-point lead,
no doubt,
which even the Warriors can't blow in a minute.
Well, Pods made a big shot, too, to start that run. Want to give Brandon Podzinski some credit for that. Yeah. They had 4 players scoring double figures off the bench. Warriors bench outscored the Nets 58-27. And that's what won the game in Brooklyn. Real quick, let's put a ball in the Toronto game because we're going to talk about Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes, 23 points, 25 rebounds, 10 assists, 70-4.
Let me say this clearly, slowly, and with no hesitation, because this is not just another rumor floating around the NBA media machine. This is different. This is real. And if it happens, it changes everything. The idea of LeBron James finishing his career next to Stephen Curry is no longer some wild fantasy cooked up on debate shows. This conversation is happening inside the league. Front offices are talking, executives are watching timelines collide, and the Golden State Warriors are right at the center of it. Because here's the reality. Golden State is stuck in the middle of the West, not bad enough to blow it up, not good enough to truly scare anyone yet. And Stephen Curry, even at this stage of his career, is still playing at an elite level that most players never reach at any age. The Warriors have one mission right now, and one mission only. Do not waste what's left of Steph Curry's prime. That's where LeBron James enters the picture. The Lakers are quietly shifting toward a future built around Luka Doncic. Whether fans want to admit it or not, the writing is on the wall. The timelines no longer match. LeBron is still productive, still dominant in moments, still one of the smartest players in basketball. But the Lakers' next era is forming without him at the center. And Golden State? Golden State is the perfect storm. We've already seen what LeBron and Curry look like together. International play gave us a preview. No ego, no confusion, just elite basketball IQ, spacing, movement, and trust. The fit wasn't forced, it was natural. The only question has never been basketball. The question is control. LeBron has a no-trade clause. Nothing happens unless he wants it to happen. And if he does want it, the structure is surprisingly clean. The Lakers send LeBron James and Bronny James to Golden State. The Warriors send Jimmy Butler, plus either a future first-round pick swap or young depth pieces like Quentin Post or Will Richard. From a salary standpoint, it works. LeBron's $52.6 million lines up with Butler's $48.8 million. No gymnastics, no chaos, just a straight, massive swing. Now let's talk about why Golden State would absolutely do this. LeBron James gives the Warriors something they desperately need: control. Late-game control, half-court control, playoff control. When the game slows down, when defenses load up on Curry, when possessions actually matter, LeBron becomes the decision-maker who takes pressure off Steph without taking the spotlight away from him. Imagine Curry running off ball while LeBron orchestrates. Imagine defenses having to choose between trapping Steph or giving LeBron a runway. Imagine Draymond Green operating as a defensive anchor and secondary playmaker instead of being forced to do everything at once. This isn't about star power. This is about fit. Yes, age is a concern. Yes, injuries matter. Yes, the luxury tax would be massive, but championships are never cheap, and windows like this don't reopen once they close. Golden State has always been bold when it matters. From the Lakers' side, this isn't surrender, it's transition. Jimmy Butler brings toughness, defense, and playoff credibility. He fits next to Doncic in ways LeBron no longer does long-term. Moving LeBron also gives the Lakers clarity, painful clarity, but clarity nonetheless. And let's be honest, Golden State benefits the most immediately. A Curry-LeBron pairing instantly pushes the Warriors back into the title conversation, not as a cute storyline, not as a feel-good experiment, as a real threat. LeBron doesn't need to be 2013 LeBron. Curry doesn't need to carry every possession. Together, they cover each other's weaknesses while amplifying each other's strengths: passing, shooting, spacing, IQ, and leadership. This is basketball at its highest level. And if you're asking whether this would really happen, ask yourself this instead. What is the alternative? Standing still? Being conservative? Hoping internal development magically closes the gap in the West? That doesn't move the needle. This move does. The Warriors have never been afraid of rewriting history, and pairing the two defining players of this generation on the same NBA team when it actually makes basketball sense is exactly the kind of bold decision that championships are built on. Now I want to hear from you. Would you welcome LeBron James to Golden State if it meant maximizing the final years of Steph Curry? Is this the ultimate win-now move, or is it too much risk? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you believe this could actually happen, and subscribe to Warriors Nation News, because if this story moves, we'll be the first ones breaking it down.